MLB trade deadline season is officially underway as far as big trades. Yes, you've had your little moves here and there. Our New York Mets keep getting some lefty bats that can hit righties. The Yankees got an outfielder, but this is the first big time trade where you got top five prospects moving, multiple top five prospects. That's why I had to bring along the prospect hugger himself, Andrew Acevedo, aka a Seattle Mariners fanboy, Julio Rodriguez fanboy. So I want to get some of that, a lot of in-depth knowledge for this Mariners farm system. Right-handed pitcher Luis Castillo is headed to the Seattle Mariners in a big-time trade in exchange for
Noelfi Marte, Edwin Arroyo, Levi Stout, and Andrew Moore.
And for the Mariners farm system, this is number 1, number 3, and number 5. I believe number 18 as far as Moore. I mean, he's around that ballpark. So this definitely was a big-time trade for a guy, Luis Castillo. He was the biggest name on the trade market. So in this video, we're going to talk about Luis Castillo, what it means for Seattle Mariners, what it means for the Cincinnati Reds, and what it means for the rest of this trade deadline. Because since this is the first big move, it's going to set up the pitching market. How does it affect Frankie Montas? And does it affect these other contenders? What do the Yankees do now? Because we know Luis Castillo was the number 1 guy that fans wanted. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Slide to the comment section. What are your thoughts on this Luis Castillo trade? How did the Reds do? How did the Mariners do? Would you have been willing to give up this many guys for a pitcher like Luis Castillo? Let me know in the comment section below. And you're always welcome to subscribe. You can subscribe to me, subscribe to Andrew. And if you're subscribed to us already, well, I mean, you know the deal. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a stranger, tell a Mariner, whoever it is always greatly appreciated. So Luis Castillo, he has finally been traded. It seems like we've been talking about this for almost 3 years now. We knew Cincinnati was going to trade him eventually because that's what they do. They don't want any payroll, and it was only a matter of time before they're going to have to pay Luis Castillo. And all in all, he's had a good year this year with the 2.86 ERA. He has pitched much better on the road than at home, which is expected when you are in such a hitter-friendly ballpark, as I call it, Great American Small Park in Cincinnati. So now he gets to go to Seattle, which is a much more pitcher-friendly ballpark. So I'm curious to see how much better Castillo is able to perform. And when you look a little further into the numbers, his ground ball rate is down a little bit, which definitely is something that you don't want. Sierra, 365. So Luis Castillo, he's a solid starter. He's definitely someone that's going to help out this Seattle team. But is he a guy that is willing to give up a 1, 3, and 5? So Andrew, turn to you. Tell us about these prospects and tell us what were your thoughts about this package.
Obviously, this package is monstrous, in my opinion, for a guy with a year and a half of control. Yes, I think he's a very good pitcher. I think he's been kind of overrated because of the rest of the market being so thin with the starting pitchers. Obviously, you've got him and Frankie Montas, who both I don't think are number 1s. I really don't think they're number 2s on a championship team. I think Montas especially is a number 3. Castillo does scare me to an extent because he's had some up and downs the last couple of years where he's been really good, but he's also been very bad. And, you're playing in Great American Small Park, like you said. So he does concern me, but he does have one of the best changeups overall in the game. He does have a great mix. The prospects going to Cincinnati. And I know this team gets a lot of garbage because, their ownership is terrible and they are just terrible. They trade everyone. But between the Eugenio Suarez and Winker trade, and now this one, they have skinned the Seattle Mariners farm system and taken some really great talent. And being the gem that he is Noelfi Marte. 5-tool caliber shortstop. Obviously, he's only an A-plus ball. He was just probably most likely getting called up to Double-A Arkansas. I would say pretty soon I would have been able to see him. But, of course, now he'll be probably going to Louisville playing for the Reds Double-A team. 270 slash line this year, 363 on base, a 462 slug, an 825 OPS, 15 homers, 55 RBIs, 13 steals, a walk to strikeout rate of 84 strikeouts to 42 walks. Keep this in mind. His April, he was atrocious. He had a horrific April and half of May. Ever since and he was May 16, he has gotten back to being the prospect we thought he was. He was last year a top 10 prospect overall in Major League Baseball. The recent great class of shortstops in the 2021 class has moved him down a bit. Now he's the number 18 prospect overall. My opinion, should be a little higher. There's some shortstops that you can make an argument Noelfi is better, Ben, but, some guys like tools, some guys like others. But for me, I think Noelfi is one of the best shortstop prospects in the game. I wouldn't put him on Volpe watch. I wouldn't put him on the level of Jordan Lawler. So that's just my guys. I'd probably say he's the 3rd best shortstop prospect in the game. Moving on to the number 3 prospect, the other shortstop, in Edwin Arroyo. He's playing in low A, where Noelfi's playing in A+ ball in with the Nuts. Yes, that team name is the Nuts. That is a great name. 316, a 385 on base, 514 slug with an 899 OPS, 13 homers, 67 RBIs, 21 stolen bases, 90 strikeouts, 35 walks. I really haven't examined his game a lot because obviously I see a lot of the A plus to double A. I definitely see them play a lot in double A. I have not seen this kid play a lot from what Mariners reporters I see. Maybe a fringe 20, 25 homer guy, depending on what ballpark. You put him in Great American Ballpark now, potentially see the power potential jump higher. And obviously, same thing with Noelfi. Power potential could be ungodly playing in a Great American small park. But Arroyo, again, just top 3 prospect in the system. He's in the top 100 MLB, just got put in the top 100 MLB pipeline. I believe he's number 93. Another right-handed shortstop. So now they have the flexibility. Noelfi probably could move to third. I think defensively, they're both. I think Arroyo's a little bit better defensively than Noelfi. Noelfi's more of a bat. Jonathan India also could clog up the middle infielders. And then the third of the big 4, because the fourth piece, Andrew Moore, really, I have personally know nothing about. This was a random. I thought we originally thought it was Dylan Moore, but it's Andrew Moore. I personally don't know anything about it, and I'm not going to bullshit because I want to be authentic. And if I don't know anything, I forgot he's the PG channel. But I do know about Levi. Levi was brought to Arkansas at the middle of last year, and I got to see him pitch a few gems. He pitched very well in the 17 and 2/3 innings pitch in Arkansas. This year, not so much. I was, again, just about to see him in about a couple weeks in Springfield. Obviously not going to see him again, but great changeup. Really good fastball, 96, 97, potentially eventually. Can hit 98 if he's jacked up on adrenaline, can get up to 98. But good movement. Him, Matt Brash, George Kirby, that rotation last year in Arkansas was deadly. And obviously Kirby and Brash got big league time this year, and they were the gems. But Levi was an underrated arm, maybe could be down the line, a reliever. But I do think he can stick in the rotation. He has a good changeup. His slider is okay, decent curveball, and obviously the fastball. So maybe a mix that put him in the bullpen. Maybe to Seattle, which reportedly Seattle came out of nowhere, Randy Orton style, struck out of nowhere, and then gets the deal done underneath the Yankees and the Dodgers' noses. Is it an overpay? You can make that argument. I think it's aggressive, and I like it as much as the prospect hugger that I am. And I think couple of these guys could be legit. Luis Castillo with Logan Gilbert, Bobby Ray can legitimize, get Seattle to the postseason. That's how desperate they are. That's what they want. So for me, that's a win for Seattle, but also a win for the Reds.
Yeah, and that's what I really like from the Seattle standpoint is they have not been in the playoffs since 2001. Obviously, the infamous 2001 season. But I just like to see a team that is something different, that's really being aggressive. Say, okay, we want to be a contender. You're tired of seeing the Dodgers and the Astros and the Yankees or the teams that are making the big moves, really, giving up the whole farm system. You like to see another team try and get in the mix. And Seattle, they're trying to battle with Houston with the expanded playoffs. A lot more teams feel like they have a chance. And like you said, I mean, you have a reigning Cy Young winner in Robbie Ray, and they just called up Matt Brash, I believe, this past week. So they're really trying to make a push for it. And this is what it's going to take, getting a guy Luis Castillo. I mean, they were losing 10-0 to the Astros tonight. So you're definitely going to need some pitching if you want to compete with guys like Justin Verlander and all that pitching that Houston has. So I thought this was a really nice move. And we saw that the Yankees were close. And that's one thing I want to focus on, because if the Yankees were to top this package that Seattle did, I mean, what's going to have to be? Volpe and Peraza plus one of their top pitchers? I mean, if you're a Yankees fan, is Castillo worth it? To me, I don't think so. Like you said, he's good. I don't think he's a number one. It definitely was a lot. I'm glad to see Seattle do this. And now, whether it's the Yankees, the Dodgers, any other team that's looking at starting pitching, you're now focused on Frankie Montas. And now that Castillo set the market, our team's going to be willing to give up 3 top 5 prospects for Frankie Montas.
Yeah, and that's where we're going to pivot is Montas now potentially with Syndergaard, the Angels. Obviously, the Yankees have had some connections with Syndergaard. Obviously, we both have some connections, former Met, but we'll see how much is left in the tank. But yeah, this sets the market in the A's favor. It could be like, hey, Montas has the 1.5 years of control, has comparable numbers to Luis Castillo. Yes, maybe doesn't have the highest praise playing in Oakland like Luis Castillo's just been rumored every year. It seems like he's had the buzz. If I'm the A's right now, I'm sitting back and saying, okay, who's going to get desperate enough to give me that kind of offer between the Dodgers, the Yankees, maybe the Astros? I think the Astros were flirting on Castillo to add another pitcher. Will the Yankees? I think Peraza's on. I think they'll move Peraza. I think that was probably on the table. But when the Mariners are saying, hey, here's our version of Peraza plus our version of Volpe, the Yankees were out of that. And I think Prospect or not, I still think they'll trade. I do think now, I think they'll pivot to Montas. But again, the Dodgers are in that same class. They were high on him. So if I'm the A's GM, I'm licking at my chops saying, all right, let's go. And I think it could be another haul where we're making another one of these videos being like, hey, Yankees gave up Dominguez, Volpe, or Dominguez, Peraza, and Holderchuck, or Ken Holderchuck, or the lefty that was in the Futures game. So we could potentially be seeing that in a few days. Or the Dodgers case, Bobby Miller, Andy Pegas. Maybe they get aggressive and trade Domingo Carter because they can. So again, if I'm I'm an A's fan, I am very happy to see what the Reds got for him. But if I'm a Yankee Dodger fan, I am terrified.
And the other team that they said was close was the Texas Rangers, which, like, Texas is way out of it, so this isn't going to put them in a playoff race. But with the money they gave to Semien, to Seager, you still have the intentions of being semi-competitive. And Luis Castillo does have that year of control where he's not a rental. So that's the other thing to obviously be considerate of. And Jose Quintana is not a name that's in the pitching market. I want nothing to do with him, honestly. He's not the Jose Quintana from many years ago when he was with the Cubs. So I think the other thing that is interesting to me, we go to a Mets perspective, is you see what Castillo got. Is it because he's a pitcher, this doesn't really affect the JD Martinez, Wilson Contreras market? And because he isn't a rental, I mean, do you think this will impact any hitters, or you think this is mostly just for the pitching market? This is just a crazy market right now.
I will say it's somewhere in the middle. I think Benintendi being 3 low 30s, and obviously the mixture here with a year and a half for Castillo. Obviously, the pitching market is always more expensive than the hitter market, but also this year we have a weird trade deadline. Obviously, now with this extra playoff spot, it's kind of ruined the deadline, in my opinion. Now you got fraud teams that think they're still in it, and they're not going to sell their pieces and get the assets they should get for guys that are going to leave in a year and a half. But for the Mets perspective, JD Martinez, Wilson Contreras, I think now Vientos might definitely be in a trade, or hope not Alex Ramirez, but a quality 4 to, I wouldn't, obviously Mauricio, I'd fight to keep Mauricio, but anywhere from that A-Ram to Plummer, I mean, that's a thin, the grand scheme of things, a thin farm, but rentals could be expensive. But also, again, the first bat rental went for 3 non-top 10 prospects with Benintendi. Contreras sets the market for JD, in my opinion, and then vice versa. If JD were to go first, that sets the market. Ian Happ is kind of in the same class with Castillo, which he's probably going to cost more because, again, year and a half control. Other names on the market, the relievers I'm excluding because the relievers are their own kind of group.
Trey Mancini, I'm
yeah.
still not sure what's going to move. Like you said, that's what concerns me most about that extra playoff spot. You know, Baltimore's been pretty hot lately. So they're ahead of the Red Sox. So do they think they have a chance? They're only a couple games out. So I wonder if Trey Mancini even gets moved at all. So that's really going to be what it comes down to: who's going to buy, who's going to sell. But the New York Mets, they got to do something to get that right-handed bat. We saw it again today. Daniel Vogelbach is facing a lefty. JD Davis, they're not even using him anymore. So they got Tyler Naquin, so another good lefty bat. But again, we need a right-handed bat. So hopefully that's our next video. You know, hopefully it's the Mets made a trade. They got their big right-handed hitter. Obviously, Andrew will either have a video on his channel, or maybe we'll do another collab, talk about prospects or whatever. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this. Let us know what you think about this trade. And until next one, make sure you're subscribed to Mets Weekly. You're looking at Empire Sports Media. You're following us on social media. All of that is in the description. So until next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy. Let's go, Mets. Nice job by both sides.